Hello everyone, welcome, my name is Phoenix and this is the Consumer's Guide to Video Games. Stellar Blade, 2024, Shift Up Corporation. This game is a third-person action game where the player takes control of a woman known only as Eve. A paratrooper sent by the mysterious Mother Sphere, Eve's mission is to clear Earth of monstrous creatures known as Natibas. However, her riding partner Taki is killed in action by an alpha Natiba, and Eve is left for dead. Thankfully, a man known as Adam saves Eve. Teaming with him and a technician named Lily, Eve must chart a course through the ruined Earth to take her revenge and slay this alpha at all costs. Listen. We all know why we played this game. I'll talk about that in a bit, but for now, let's just not pretend like we didn't play it for the same reasons. Okay? Good. So with that out of the way, let's just get into this one. Combining the mechanics of Ninja Gaiden with Dark Souls, Stellar Blade is an action game that emphasizes the old school, fast-paced carnage of the former with the grindy, open format of the latter. For a majority of the game, you get a few big sandboxes to explore, allowing you to do things like progress the main story, do side missions for the remaining people on Earth, and collect secret items and power-ups. Having to use what are essentially sites of grace, bonfires, whatever you want to fucking call them, to upgrade your skills and weapons, these save points also reset the map like in a Souls game. So you can kill all the enemies again and get more XP, yada yada yada, you've all played fucking Dark Souls. But when you fight enemies, it is nothing like Dark Souls in the slightest. The combat in this game is fast-paced and is based around quick timing. You can burn through enemies with combos, counter and parry their moves, and level them with special attacks of all sorts. After a certain point in the game, you get a rage meter, and when full, you get a super version of yourself that just rips through enemies. There are also levels that require ranged weaponry, which you get in the form of a drone that can transform into a gun. Here, these levels randomly turn into Resident Evil 4, and you now have to shoot through hordes of zombies and blow up explosive corpses and whatnot. These levels are a nice change of pace from everything, even if they are a little easy. The boss battles, much like in a game like Ninja Gaiden or Dark Souls, are where you are going to be put to the test. The only bosses that really don't test you at all are the ones in those Resident Evil-esque levels. Just shoot the targets and you'll be fine. Every other boss, though, get ready to get your ass kicked. All your skills will be needed for these mono-and-mono battles. Dodging projectiles, countering massive combos, using all your special moves and power-ups, you gotta vary your attacks and methods in order to survive. The last two bosses in particular are righteous pains in the ass. They will fuck your shit up if you don't learn their rhythms perfectly and have your reflexes be on point. Thankfully, enemies telegraph their attacks, so it is forgiving on you, but only a little bit. There's also a heapin' helping of platforming and puzzles to solve in the game. Maps often have areas that require you to do some gymnastics, such as swinging from bars, running on walls, hanging from bars, whatever, that sort of stuff. You also had the occasional locked door where you had to search for a code, as well as this random physics thing during a side quest, whatever. While not exactly a challenging platformer or a puzzle-solving experience, it still had moments where you had to be on your toes, time things just right, and search diligently to get to where you are going. One of my favorite little platforming puzzles was a set of collapsible platforms that you had to step on in a specific order. That one tested me a bit, and while the order wasn't incomprehensibly long, the way the platforms were set up requires some finesse to get to. Now it's time to discuss why everyone played this game. To start things off, the art design in this game is very nice. Running on Unreal Engine 4, this game is quite a feast for your eyes. Yes, it is in that way as well, but generally speaking, it is a very beautiful game. The graphics are slick, and the character models are a combination of realistic textures and an anime aesthetic. Super lifelike, but with the big cat eyes and whatnot. The characters are also interestingly designed. This is especially apparent when we see the Natibas and the bosses. They're very over the top with tons of moving parts to them. It is incredibly imaginative. The environments are also varied and sleek, allowing you to explore various desert areas, factories, and ruined cities. There are tons of details in these environments that tell a story of a time long past, and it's interesting imagining what life was like before this giant cataclysm. But man, that Eve is fucking hot. Oh, Jesus. This team just had no fucking chill when designing this character, and they knew exactly who they were appealing to. Allowing you to dress Eve up in all sorts of skimpy outfits, you get to look at this buxom babe in pretty much all her glory. I was close to cackling when I unlocked these fairy tale themed one-piece bodysuits, and just all her bits were barely being covered. Christ almighty. Amidst the perverted fucking discourse regarding this game, the majority of it has been around the titty physics, and that's fine. Those fangs were fanging, and all the girls' boobs were bouncing around. But I'm sorry, just as much attention needs to be shown towards Eve's absolute fucking dump truck ass. When you put her in the really skimpy outfits, those cheeks you have to look at while running around in the world are quite shapely and firm. It's a glorious view, I must say. Fuck me. The music is another notable element of the game. About as anime a score as one can get, our composers blended lounge music, electronica, and heavy metal. It is a bombastic onslaught that perfectly captures the essence of these battles and exploring this world. The lounge pieces are these glitchy soft rock and crooner songs, all of them being very relaxing and interestingly arranged. When combat hits, the electronic and orchestral elements synchronize perfectly, and you get amped up to fight all these monsters. During one boss, a metal song that sounds like something the Dillinger Escape Plan would play is blasting in your ears, and it is chaotic sounding. The second to last boss, Raven, has this Vocaloid hyperpop song blasting, and while it's not necessarily the music I would choose, it is super intense, especially considering how hard that boss is. Now, surprisingly enough, this game does have a story. What surprisingly was my favorite aspect of this story was how anime it was. Much like with appealing to the audience and their thirstiness, this writing team was unabashed in using every over-the-top anime trope in the business, but maintaining a consistent, self-aware tone. But with anime shit, though, comes the fact that certain elements are going to grate on your nerves. The character of Lily is fucking obnoxious, and on top of that, look at this. I'm pretty sure she was designed by some fucking lolly perv, because, like, what the fuck? Why does this character look like that? Do I need to call the authorities? Also, just murder all fucking hack writers who think they're smart for using obvious religious imagery and biblical references. Unless you are saying something profound with it, fuck off. Seriously, Adam and Eve, end yourself. Regardless of issues like that, Stellar Blade tries its best to be the most entertaining and riveting anime schlock possible. To do that, we have to take a look at our main character, Eve. Now, I've heard the argument that she is more of a player vessel, but that isn't true at all. Our tall drink of water is essentially a Terminator, but she doesn't know that. Mother Sphere, aka Skynet, basically pulled a Judgment Day, and is using Eve to sort of finish the job. Eve's journey is one of self-realization, becoming conscious of what she is, and becoming aware of the fact that Mother Sphere lied to her. At the end, you have a choice of either joining the Naytibas or helping Mother Sphere. I chose the former because fuck helping some robot take over the world. I've seen that movie. It's my favorite movie. I think the ending I chose is clearly the proper ending, as there was a sequel tease at the end of the credits. Voicing Eve is Rebecca Hansen, and she gives a solid little performance. Her monotone British voice was perfect for those beginning sections where Eve is learning about Earth and what all these artifacts left over from the before times were. But later on, as the character becomes more self-aware, Hansen gets to shine through showing really powerful emotion. And as annoying as Lily was, Rosie Jones was also allowed to have some decent moments of displaying shattered innocence, especially near the end. Nazar Aldarazi played Adam, and while it wasn't a particularly riveting performance, I suppose it worked for the fact that he's some weird evolved humanoid. I don't know. Raven, who we initially thought was the villain, is voiced by Diana Bermudez, and she managed to give this character a pretty intimidating, arrogant aura. Tons of conviction in everything she said during that boss fight. In the end, I think Stellar Blade has tons for everyone. For gamers looking to get good, it has intense and challenging combat, along with higher difficulties and a new Game Plus mode. For those that are fans of those weeb cartoons, its world and characters would be right up your alley. For frame rate whores and graphics junkies, this game pushes Unreal Engine 4 to the max, providing players with gorgeous and detailed environments and characters. For those of the Gooner persuasion, Eve has big titties and a tight ass, and you get to put her in all sorts of revealing clothing. Oh, fuck. For me, this game was a damn fun time, and I look forward to revisiting it in the future. Recommended. And I'm feeling an 8 out of 10 on this one. It's a fun time, I gotta say. Catch you later, guys.